I find it unconstitutional that we prevent these kids, these gifted kids who are playing a violent game, from being able to earn any money for 3 years out of high school other than room, board, and tuition. And I said yesterday that I, for one, if kids are getting money under the table, God bless them, because they deserve it. If these coaches that we've had on the show are what do they make, 5, 6, 7 million a year? The stars of these teams should be making 5 times as much money. I know that seems exaggerated, but that's how valuable they are to these institutions and to the NCAA at large. And this kid we talked about with Les Miles the other day, Leonard Fournette, you don't think he could play pro football right now the way Adrian Peterson could before he went to the University of Oklahoma at age 18? Trust me, that's why I asked Les the other day, just hypothetically, if you'd thrown Leonard Fournette into the draft this year, where would he have gone at age 18? He would have gone in the top 10. Trust me. He's that gifted. He's got that much character. He's that grounded at his age. He could have produced for an NFL team. So, in college football, if you're going to make them go for 3 years, why not have no rules? 0 rules. Abolish your rules. If a booster at whichever school, dear old you, wants to pay X dollars for a big signing bonus to get Leonard Fournette to come to LSU or wherever it is, God bless him, because the kid deserves the money. If a kid isn't good enough to command any open market supply and demand money, then he'll get his scholarship the way everybody else does. I don't know why in America, and someday this will happen. It may be long after I'm gone, but someday somebody will see the light and somebody will win a court case. Remember, Maurice Claret tried to win his, and he got it to the appeals level and lost. But somebody will break this system that is unconstitutional, because they deserve to be paid open market value to play the equivalent of pro football on the college level, because they are making billions of TV dollars for all these schools and for the NCAA at large.
Skip Bayless, I can appreciate your position, and you're far more of an avid college fan than I am, even though my interest in collegiate sports, particularly college football, because I've always loved college basketball, has elevated exponentially. But I think it's important to recognize that even while you say what you're saying, what we have to do is keep in mind the biggest thing that supports your argument, and that is, unlike NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, National Hockey League players who have representation and engage in collective bargaining negotiations, your argument elevates significantly when you consider the fact that these kids are definitely exploited because they have no representation. And that doesn't mean that you necessarily should have a quote-unquote union and be treated like employees everywhere. But at the same time, the fact that they're so easily exploited, and they've been so easily exploited throughout the years, is the kind of thing that gives credence to the arguments that you would make in terms of saying, hey, let it ride, no rules whatsoever. I'm not willing to go that far because I don't want mayhem. I believe there must be order somehow, some way. But I also think that there are modifications that are called for in every walk of life. I'll go to the other extreme and just bring up the criminal justice system. There's a difference between murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter, assault, all of these different charges. Why? Because the court system uses it as a means to gauge not just the specifications of a crime, but the appropriate punishment they deem comes along with it. Something has to be comparable to something else. And the reason why I bring up something like that is that, to me, the first order that needs to be put in or that needs to be implemented so we can have some fairness going on is for the first order of business is for us to stop lying to one another. I brought up this point yesterday right before Steve Spurrier came on. If you are on the volleyball team or the soccer team, or dare I say the women's college basketball team, because we live in the existence of Title IX, you don't generate the level of revenue that men's college basketball generates. You don't generate the level of revenue that men's football generates. Therefore, you don't deserve the revenue. that they bring in. What we are really fighting as it pertains to the NCAA system, Skip, is this notion that everybody has to be treated equally and fairly. Who the hell applies to that? That's simply not true. ESPN is highly successful. The money that we're able to generate is different than the money that you might generate at another network. So forgive me if we should expect that we're going to be a bit more financially successful in certain places than we are at others. In America, I'm reading some article, and I've read several about this subject over the last couple of months, but it was a particular one literally by this guy, Klay Travis from Fox Sports, just a couple of months ago, when he used the line here, combating a free market. This is the toughest job. He called the NCAA job impossible. He said, combating a free market in a country founded on the principles of free market. I couldn't agree more. That's what the NCAA is trying to do. That's why it doesn't work. That's why it's considered unfair. But there must be order. So to me, just a little bit of leniency. Stop lying to one another. Recognize that everybody doesn't deserve to be treated fairly. It's about who generates the revenue. And then outside of that, do something, make sure, be a little bit lenient. Stop tripping over somebody getting a flight home or somebody getting an extra meal or something along those lines. If you're playing at Oklahoma, Skip, and you're bringing in millions upon millions of dollars, that's going to be a little bit different than if you're playing at Temple here in Philadelphia. It's just going to be a little bit different, Skip.